Cesar, welcome.
Thank you.
We are here today with some kind of one of the most beautiful cars that we ever got here, I think. It's
That's very kind of
classical.
you.
No, it's true, isn't it? It's classic, it's gorgeous, it's immaculate. It's a Mercedes-Benz that I love. And it's just like, and has that perfect, and it has that red interior. So 190SL, beautiful day actually as well. So it can't get better than this.
First day coming out after few months of hibernation. Yes, so we thought we'd bring it out just to turn the engine over, and you get a lot of beautiful cars in your place.
Oh,
so
thank
for
you.
you to say
Now,
what you say, it's very complimentary. Thank you.
oh, no, I remember when you first came here and you parked in front of our...
You just started.
You're just starting, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And kind of almost 2 years ago. And I remember when I saw your car, I said, oh, Lord, that's so gorgeous.
Thank you.
Before we go in all that and start talking about this beauty, let me know how all this passion started. Why cars and how you got into it?
Oh, I think you need half a dozen episodes with Nasser Jafarzadeh.
Oh, tell me about it.
I come from Iran,
Yeah.
and came to UK to study in 1975. And Iran, not many people know, is a car crazy country. Hardly any people know that before the revolution, in 1979 revolution and the ousting of Shah of Iran, we were one of the major manufacturers of cars in the world. We produced few million cars, and it continued. So I was from a country that they were car mad, and many cars from many models from US. And when I was a kid, I think I learned most of the model names because my dad's business was near some of the major dealerships or service centers, mostly American cars.
Yes.
So, you know, there were a number of times that I would get into my dad's friends' cars and let go of the handbrake and just about, cause near accidents. So, yeah, I think I was 14 when I first started kind of taking my dad's car out without him realizing, and
you know that I used to love to do that as well. Get my get the cars and just move it around in
exactly that. But we used to go a little bit more than that. I mean, my dad was a late driver, which means that he got his driver's license much later in life, and he decided that his first car should be something that wouldn't matter if he bashed it or if something happened. So it was small and very sturdy, and it was a Russian Moscovich. But it was.
I hope you have a picture of that.
Yeah.
Maybe you have, but we can find
I have
it.
a picture of similar model and same color. And but the beauty of it was that in the winter it was the only car in our neighborhood that would start and climb over all the snow that used to pile up. So then it went on as I became a student in UK. At the time that I just arrived after a couple of months, I didn't know what MOT was. I didn't know.
It's a British thing.
Yeah, I didn't know because back home, I'm not sure at that time we had anything like that. Actually, I got to go back a little bit. The reason I actually managed to come to UK and study, because my dad had bought me a car, a Citroen Mahari fiberglass, brand new, and I decided that I really wanted to study overseas rather than go to university in Tehran. And one evening, a similar car came and parked next to me on a traffic light, and two chaps in there, one of them says, "Is it for sale?" I said, "It could be." He said, "Let's talk." That night I had a deal. I sold the car, used the money, and came to UK.
Oh, you see?
So the
car is part of your life in many different ways. Kind of even starting your journey here.
Yeah, my dad wasn't happy that I was gonna leave the family and go and study overseas. He wanted me to go to uni back home, but I said, "Dad, I've got the money for the car that you bought me, and I've got permission or student visa." That was it, the student visa and acceptance to do language school. And and so on. So that's
And
how it
this is
started.
when was
This is 75,
75?
1975, and soon it's gonna be the 50th anniversary of me actually
Being here, yeah, true.
being here.
Yeah, we are in 2025. Here we go.
That's right. I was just saying I didn't know what MOT was, and I was A-level student because I had to do A-levels here before I did the uni, and I went and bought myself a TR6 without really having too much knowledge of maintaining such a car in this country. And I remember that I couldn't get insured, so there was the Polytechnic, Portsmouth Polytechnic, where I used to had a student insurance scheme.
All right.
That they would only insure you for 6 months, and so that was my first car in this country. And thereafter, yeah, it just continued with moving into other cars as we do. But classics, I think I was kind of, it wasn't accidental, but it was as a matter of necessity. At the time, we had a nice Ford Capri that, due to the finances of the Iranian Revolution and not money coming over, etc., we had to sell it. And I went and bought myself a 1959 Hillman Minx from British Car Auctions in Farnborough at the time, and it had a crank handle.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah.
And I could actually start it with that. I bought it for £50, and I fell in
£50.
I fell in love with old cars then.
There's some sort of magic, and you saw when you arrived today. I mean, it's hard. Everyone's surrounding this car, and it's a talking point that it fascinates car lovers like ourselves, and there's some magic in those things, right?
There is.
And here we go. You always started with that car.
Yeah, the Hillman Minx 1950, which I bought for £50. I used to go and pick my wife from work, and she had to be embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
Because I had to wait for the friends for her to come and crank
it, yeah.
Crank start the car, and
she's laughing in the background.
Yeah. Then I would say the next classic was, I was on a business trip in US, and I was in a friend's condo, and I saw this gorgeous, what I thought it was a Jaguar Mark II. As I got near, I realized that it's got a Daimler, mark on it. And at that time, I didn't know that there was an identical shape made by the company and branded differently under Daimler 250 V8.
Yes.
I said to the gentleman, because I realized it's a British right-hand drive car, and I said, "Oh my goodness, this lovely car, is it for sale?" He says, "My friend, this is America. Everything is for sale."
Yeah. It's absolutely true, isn't it? Yeah, they know how to make business.
So I ended up buying that car, bringing it to UK, and at the time that I was actually driving it to the shipping company, I was following a friend of mine who lived in Los Angeles, and he didn't really care that I was in an old car, and he put his foot down, and I needed to be be close to him because I didn't know where I was going, and it blew an engine because and,
pushing too hard.
But we got the car to UK and had it fixed by a retired Jaguar specialist that lived near South Sea, and that was it. But we were forced, I mean, I say we as a family, we were forced to sell that one because we're migrating to Singapore.
Oh.
This was in '94, and when I was in Singapore, I had a passion of having old cars, but I couldn't because the laws of owning classic cars in Singapore, you really don't want to hear. It's too difficult to own a car over there that is classic. You can only bring it out on the road for something like, I think, 24 days a year.
Really?
With a classic number plate. But a regular number plated cars, classic cars that you can drive as usual, normally, they are 5, 6, 7 times the price of elsewhere, because they're limited in numbers. Let's say there is
I
4
get it, I
190
get it.
SLs in Singapore, and they put a price tag of 2.5 million instead of whatever.
My Lord.
And that's it, because there is no other way that a number 5 or number 6 could be there, because
I
if you
get it.
bring in 190 SL,
The other ones will drop in
it-
price as well.
no,
and
no, no,
kind
no,
of-
no. You would only be able to put a classic plate on it. And on a classic plate is not a normal daily car that you can use anytime you want.
That's
It's
crazy.
24
Never heard about that.
So what happened? We happened to own 2 or 3 classic cars, including this one, outside of Singapore.
That's the trick.
Well,
There's always a way around it.
Well, it was kind of the first one, which led into second one, and then this one happened in my own home country of Iran. In one of my travels,
Yeah.
I came across.
So you bought it in Iran?
Not this one.
Oh.
The cars that led to this.
Oh, okay.
So there are
okay.
a few steps before this happened. And that was a Mercedes 1957 that in one of my trips to Iran I saw and I fell in love with, because apparently my dad had one whilst I was in UK, and they hadn't told me, because things were going on during those years, like Mr. Saddam Hussein attacking Iran, and
Yeah, that kind of,
and people were
Crazy
not
time.
talking about crazy times. People were not talking about cars. We were talking about Saddam Hussein's Scud missiles on the phone rather than trivial matters. So when I realized that my dad had a car, a Mercedes, I imagined that it would be something like 1950s or 60s. And I decided that it must have been a ponton, because no one had taken any photo of the car. My younger siblings, they didn't know much about the models of cars. They described it to me, and I thought it must have been a Mercedes, what we call a W120 or W121, nicknamed ponton.
yeah, no, I know the car. Yeah.
which-
It was a Mercedes, right? So
It was a
Has
Mercedes.
always been this passion about Mercedes.
Well, it started with me realizing that
With the ponton.
with my dad had one and I'd not seen it. So that kind of took me to have that connection with Mercedes, even though Mercedes brand in general, it's massive in Middle East. I mean,
Oh yes.
most of our taxis were pontons, or the model before that, the 170 model from the 50s. I mean, even if you go today to Lebanon, Syria, anywhere in Middle East, Jordan, you find a lot of old Mercedes cars that are from the period.
But they represent a different level of luxury. I keep
Yes.
saying that. It's for me, it's so unique in so many different ways that you see this car. You made a comment about why would you buy a car like this when you arrived.
What I meant was that this is a 1956 Mercedes 190 SL, code W121, and it was launched in 1954 alongside the famous Gullwing 300
Yeah.
SL. So as they launched it to the US market or exhibited it in New York car show, they had planned to have a cheaper version for people who couldn't afford the 300 SL Gullwing,
So you would have
to be
the-
able to have. So there are similarities in certain areas, for instance, and there are some parts that are actually the same. As they call the front logo, that's actually the same as on the Gullwing model. There are certain parts that are identical. I mean,
Yes.
believe it or not, this is exactly the same.
that you get.
or there are few parts about the car, but the shape of it, the general shape of it, there are similarities. I prefer the backside of this car
And it's
to 300 SL myself, actually.
Yes, it's super clean, isn't it? The body side is clean. The whole, I love the way you have all these kind of very positive surfaces, kind of really the muscularity that you have in the car. It's there, it's gentle, but you see this kind of how the fenders travel beautifully on covering the wheels, and it's a
all the things you are saying that I fell in love with. This particular known as eyebrows.
The eyebrows,
And,
exactly, yes.
when they are restored, it's amongst the most difficult things to actually get right.
Yeah,
And
but it's about simplicity in the end, isn't it? It's very refined in many different ways, but it's still a very simple body side, a very simple shape, and that's what makes it so timeless, in my opinion.
yes,
Because cars, kind of, when they get overcomplicated, they don't kind of make that beautiful impression in your brain, because we take a picture every time you look at something, and when you see something like this, that it communicates forms, speed, power in such a beautiful, simple way, it just stays there with you. So that's the beauty of it.
with your background in design, you actually see things that is not necessarily, you've got the trained eyes of of a
Yeah,
design. And but for us, it's what some of the connections that we have. The reason I was mentioning the Ponton and the other Mercedes is that when I decided that I could afford to look for and find one of these, is that I had become very familiar with the Ponton, which
Yeah.
is same factory code as W121. It was in 1957, and many people would find it, how can I say, surprising to realize that the drivetrain of this vehicle is identical to that. Engine is the same, gearbox is the same, the brake system is the same.
Technically the same.
Technically the same. The only difference in this car is that the carburetors. The carburetors. So I'd kind of, having gone through a process of restoration and making that car back home in Iran, improved and to the memory of my dad, to bring it to the best possible condition. I'd learned where to get the parts, who
Yes.
would be the supplier. So that allowed me, when this happened to come along, for me
know
to be
where to
able
go and-
where to go and how to go through the restoration process with it.
And Mercedes is famous as well to be kind of very proud of its heritage and have loads of parts, or mostly of the parts, always available as well, don't they? Kind of the Mercedes-Benz Heritage Department, I think they play a major role in kind of keeping this dream going on and kind of providing collectors like yourself keep the dream moving on.
Definitely. The availability, even though it's a 1950s car, I would say that almost every bit of this car one can find one way or the other.
Yes.
Either in in boxed new old stock somewhere, or some of the specialists that exist today in Germany. But so many of these were shipped to US. So US has become one of the best sources for
parts.
for finding parts, in addition to Germany.
And when did you get this one specifically?
Okay, this is 2014, if I'm not mistaken. It took a year of restoration. It had sat in a provincial car sales showroom for 20 odd years, because the
Really?
owner had traded it in for a Ferrari, and it kept it in the showroom as an eye candy. Never wanted to sell it because
Just left it there.
it attracted people to
Oh, yes.
his place outside of Toronto. And when he passed away, his nephew had taken over the business, and he decided that some of the assets are also for sale. So when he decided to sell the car, I happened to come by the advertisement that he'd put through some friends. So, and it went directly to Dubai. And
So this one has been traveling quite a lot.
yeah, the reason I say Dubai, because at the time we couldn't have cars in Singapore. We had a holiday place, or we still have a property there, and it had a car parking space, and it went there alongside another Mercedes that we had acquired prior to this. So when we eventually left Singapore about 6 years ago, one of the positive things about coming back to UK was that we could bring both cars.
Exactly, because you're moving in,
We
right?
are moving back in, and they came as part of a return of residency or something, ROT or something, and they came with us, and since then they have been reason for making new friends, because
Yes.
after 25 years, most of our friends that we knew in the older areas, were no longer there. So we made new friends in the classic car world, and petrol
I
head
imagine.
communities.
It's a mega
People like
talking point.
yourself that we got to know
And
as a result of.
so usually I ask people, kind of, have you been traveling with this car, doing this and that? In your case, I mean, the car has been traveling quite a lot. Has been to Canada, has been to Dubai, back to England, of course, Germany. So what was the most memorable trip that you've done with this car? Kind of, what is the kind of that trip that kind of, that was amazing? And I want to get you in the conversation as well. I know you're hiding there, but
I think the most memorable is that, imagine 4 of these on a few days like this, traveling the different parts of the country. We made friends with other owners. In fact, one of them I'd got to know before we even moved to UK, and coincidentally, he happened to have his wife happened to also be from Iran, and through Alan and his wife Susan, we made friends with others. So the most memorable was 4 of us traveling together with 4 190SLs, all different colors, and going to different parts of the country.
oh, that's amazing. So there you are. I mean, you finally came. So you're in the background, kind of didn't want to show up, but what about, I mean, I saw you both arriving today. Kind of, that it's part of the magic, right? So see a car like this and seeing you both arriving together, it's just a perfect picture.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's really
that's
nice. So what is your connection with the car? Because you've been following and kind of since the cranking, which
the
one was that?
The embarrassing.
The embarrassing
cranking.
one,
Yeah,
and now
yeah.
kind of being in a car like this and kind of, how special is it for you?
Yeah, this one is, I would say, is the most special. I think the memories that we have driving around Dubai whenever we went over there
Yes.
on holiday, that was wonderful. Yeah, no,
It's-
she's the most special one out of all of them.
So you bought this car in 2014,
Yes.
correct? The restoration period took a year or two. 1 year,
And
exactly.
don't forget when you took delivery, when Nasser took delivery of the car was actually on his birthday after the 1 year, and
so
that was
yeah.
purely by chance.
It was
wasn't
co-
Was
it
by
was-
chance,
Purely
actually.
by chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was
When
great.
the day that the restoration was finished, it happened to be
Your birthday.
not only that, it was also Iranian New Year, Persian New Year.
Yeah, it was fun.
So we took her out that day, and on the way back, when you restore cars, there are some niggling issues. So the alternator that we had replaced the dynamo with wasn't quite working. So on the way back, it actually stopped very near to our apartment, but it was fun because we just stopped by the side of the road and
Loaded her on a breakdown truck.
loaded it, and
Yeah.
but that was the end of the evening, and it came, and the following day it was fixed and it was okay.
Fantastic. And it was exactly in this color combination. The red
Originally?
interior, the burgundy interior,
No,
originally was a different color.
originally
Different colour.
it had been changed, and we took it back to factory colors.
Oh, right.
It was blue interior sometime in his life. I mean, now this close to 70 years, isn't it?
Amazing.
It had been
It's-
changed, and
It's kind of incredible to see a car of this age, kind of almost in kind of showroom condition, right? It's just perfect.
This is not a garage queen. Because we drive it, there are some things that that need to be perfect, but we drive it. I mean, when I say we drive it, due to the limitations that we had over the years of living in Singapore, we could only use it over holiday periods. and I've done 12,734 miles.
And you have a good sight because I couldn't see from your distance there.
since,
I would not be able
yeah,
to do
there
it.
you
Hold
go.
on.
No,
Yeah.
No way.
since it was restored, yes, 12,000.
I wouldn't be able to do that. Actually, I'm not able. So it's a dream car, isn't it? It's one of those cars like you think about XKSSs, it's kind of cars like kind of it's a movie style, it's a Hollywood type of machine, and it brings glamour, brings it kind of shouts elegance, glamour, being special. How is it driving? What is the feel when driving it? Is it the same kind of, because being inside is all about, and when I see you arriving, for example, today it was just beautiful to see. But how is the experience when
I'll
driving
take you
it?
out for a drive. You need to experience it yourself with me if you like at one of these days.
Yes,
If not
I will.
today. I know you're busy with everything that is going on, but it's very comfortable car to drive, and
It's very comfortable.
I've been used to this particular kind of power with the ponton because it's the same engine and everything, but the dashboard on this car and the bucket seats. The earlier models, like the Gullwing, have bucket seats, so they make it very comfortable in so many different ways.
Talking about the engine, shall we open the
Sure.
bonnet? Should
Sure.
we?
Sure.
This is your department, the engine.
Oh, look at the size of this engine. Love the double Webers.
We like to use this car, so in order to actually enjoy the driving and bring more reliability, I've done a couple of things that can easily be put back to its original and taken some parts out and put some other parts that as and when anyone, myself or future guardians of this want to put it back to original. One of them is
I
that,
love the term.
yeah, guardians.
Future Guardian.
Yes.
That's beautiful. You
Okay.
see? That's
The
impressive.
reliability, the important part of it is that Webers tune better or easier because you can, as you know, you can change
Yeah.
the jets much more easier.
Yeah,
So
yes.
decided to put Webers because they're easier to tune for that purpose. There is an electronic ignition system so that it makes it easy for tune up. So the original Bosch is nicely packed away, and in order to make it easier to start, an electric fuel pump has been
yeah.
replacing the mechanical one, because the mechanical one can take ages for the starter motor to turn the engine,
Yes.
and for that
And I have a much more simple white convertible as well, my 124 Spider, and there's no comparison. And it has a mechanical pump, and sometimes it's just a pain.
yeah.
It just doesn't want to
It-
go. So I
it-
may change that as well for an electronic.
So it's been done kind of tastefully because it's sitting exactly where
Have a look.
it's sitting exactly where the
The original one would be.
mechanical one would be sitting. So that is nicely packed away together with the Bosch ignition. So I think within few hours, I would say,
You revert it to original.
everything can go back and be factory original.
Have a look at the way this bonnet pivots, and of course the front edge of the bonnet. Just deep dive into it. It's a beautiful solution. It's very elegant. Again, you can see the grille, the mesh behind it, but it still allows you to kind of work pretty nicely on the engine bay. But it's glamorous, isn't it? It's just nice. It's just, again, extremely elegant. It's not only about being beautiful outside, having a beautiful engine. You want to travel, but you want to travel in style.
I'm not sure whether it's really practical, but
But it's
but it's kind of it, yes. They are not the original
Luggage kit.
the kit that if you find some in a good condition, there's about $30,000 or so the worth
Wow.
value of the original, and the name of the German manufacturer escapes me right now, but they are done by a good company because there are various versions of so-called replica units.
All right. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, they fit in the shape of the,
The trunk, the
yes.
trunk lid. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
So
it's got, it's got some jewelry here.
yes,
I mean, the
and
luggage set.
the car itself, it's a moving jewelry, isn't it? It's every single detail. If you think about the interior, again, other than being immaculate, every single clock, every single detail is just. I don't. It's hard.
We
I
gotta,
struggle to explain because
we
I'm a car lover, and when I see things like that, I get even emotional. To be
we
honest.
gotta remember that every time we get in the car to open the glove box and wind the clock, because it's a, it's a what do you call it? It's a mechanical
Oh, clock.
winder, and when you forget after a few weeks,
It
it
stops.
stops until you you wind it on and
That's
just
cute
get
though,
the,
isn't it?
get the car.
It's cute that you still
It's
have
cute,
to do
isn't it?
that,
And
wind it up.
some of the solutions, again, it's just about this jewelry-like feel. So I love that being translucent and kind of kicking up a little bit that line, and kind of, it adds this change in the volume and this sense of excitement. When you finish the restoration, of course, birthday day, very special day. Which was the first place that you both took the car?
Oh, can you remember?
Do you remember that?
That's an easy one.
It's an easy one, I
Yeah,
see.
no, in Dubai, it's an easy one. There is a part of area of Dubai, that's where we had bought our first house there, called Emirate Hills. Is by the golf course,
All right.
and the roads are quieter than the main highways, etc. So we took it to Emirate Hills area, which is one of the nice parts of the Dubai, and then Jumeirah Road, past some of the major hotels. Yeah, I mean, that's, to be
That
honest
was
with
the
you,
day.
in Dubai there is not much unless you go out. Otherwise, the kind of areas that you want to go those are the nice iconic avenues.
Yes. Some stuff that I've been looking at the car and it kind of calls my attention. Of course, the body colored wheel caps and the wheels itself. The mirror, the rear view mirror inside
Where it
is
is,
body color as well. Of course, the steering wheel and dash, the gear knob, the the single side exterior rear view mirror. You just don't have it on the other side, making it even cleaner. It's just,
I think you're making us appreciate her even
I
more
love
now,
it. I
actually.
just love it. I'm just in love. Yeah. Do you think I'm exaggerating?
No, not
No,
at all.
No,
I'm not,
we-
No,
right?
you're not.
Sometimes you forget yourself
Very
when
true.
you have something and you don't necessarily appreciate it on daily basis. You might take it for granted.
Yeah.
So when someone else points some of the things that we might have got used to it, yeah.
It's a different moment in time where cars are kind of, a car like that is basically ice sculpture on wheels. You don't see all the shut lines that you have in normal cars nowadays. And these are the things that for me are the most important. You see the kind of, again, the inset bonnet, there's nothing around it. In a normal car, you would have a shut line here,
Yeah.
a shut line there. And no, this is all beautiful. It's all kind of, almost a kind of a handmade sculpture. Same thing with the trunk. It's all kind of, I don't know.
I think my favourite thing is the steering wheel.
Yeah, it's glorious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really
Oh,
lovely.
my favorite of the whole thing is the indicators. Notice there is nothing there.
Yes.
So how do you indicate? Like this. Or like this.
Oh, that's
It
lovely.
is, it's so tactile. So when you want, you actually makes you want to turn.
Oh, that's beautiful. Do you drive it usually or
I
not?
don't.
No?
I don't. I've tried, but I've got very long legs and it's quite difficult
To see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something special about this car, and that is it has the spirits of probably 100 other 190SLs that are no longer on the road because they got
I love that story.
because they scrapped or something, but they live, those parts live in this car. Reason being,
That's poetic, you see?
when the interior of this vehicle was out at the workshop to be restored, and the leather that I had ordered to be, you know, installed and everything, the workshop that was doing it caught fire. So the entire interior of this original one got destroyed.
Wow.
So I had to find parts from all over the world from the same model, because it's a 56 model, and these seats were very, very difficult to come by. You know where the seats come from?
Oh, no, I'm curious.
A 190SL, which used to get raced in Silverstone by a lady driver that I gotta find the name. And
Okay. Send me later on, yeah.
and the car was owned by a gentleman that we made friends with later on, Adrian. And he had decided to take the bucket seats out, which he had added to the car, because originally the car didn't have bucket seats, because bucket seats are from 1955 till 54, 55, 56. And so these seats are very special because they used to get raced in Silverstone and all the other classic racing tracks in UK and maybe elsewhere.
I'm falling in love further and further and further. I mean,
And all the other parts that came from cars that don't exist anymore. For instance, this part here, for instance, which is the aluminium part, the inner doors, these are wood, and this is aluminium, but these pieces are wood, and they had burnt and disappeared, and I had to find them, and they came from some other cars. So bits of this car has been on other 190SLs that they live with this one. So this car is living for maybe 100 different cars, because every part of the interior had burned, and there are many parts. Like this is wood, these are wood pieces that you actually see there, and these all of these bits.
It's fascinating. It's just fascinating. You see, it builds the appreciation and the kind of.
It does.
This is what cars are about. I truly believe that this is what cars should be about. They can't be just things that move us from A to B. I keep saying that I mean, we may have an electric fridge that drives you from A to B, and that's fantastic, great, but they have no soul. They have no passion. They don't communicate anything. This is a completely different story. This is magical, because it's you in every single detail. Even if it's a completely original car in many different ways, the changes that you provide to it, it's kind of like that call to get the seat, and that email and that conversation, and the restoration placing, getting on fire, and then having to resource all that again. It's just.
And Nasser was very hands-on, weren't you, with the restoration? Yes, multiple trips within that year, back and forth from Singapore to Dubai, taking the seats over. They were shipped from the UK to Singapore, restored in Singapore, and then Nasser physically took them then via Iran, wasn't it, to Dubai, or straight to Dubai?
That's
and
right.
As you know, I'm Brazilian, right? So I have Brazilian-Italian citizenship.
Yes.
And I'm a kind of emotional guy. May I do something? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Because
thanks for letting us tell.
I don't know if I shouldn't do that, but
people say
that's why I love cars.
People say what's her name? So in Farsi, asal, not SL, asal means honey. So I suppose the nearest name we have for it is honey with asal.
So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Come here. Thank you so much for being here as well. I will give you a hug as well.
Pleasure. It was fun. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's a beautiful car, beautiful story. As you said, we may need to talk about all the details one day again, going deep diving into everything, because this is not a car for one single episode. I think it's much more.
You need to have a drive as well.
I will.
You need to
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And see you guys soon.
Okay.